Hello. Happy Monday. Oh, okay. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Merriment Mondays live. Today we are going to talk about Valentine season. Preparing for a joyful Valentine season. Letting people join in. Oh, we've already got people. Hello. Hello. Happy February. The groundhog saw his shadow. Apparently, he's also a dad. Daddy Phil. Daddy Phil. That's pretty funny. Um, I really like that the groundhog has like a family. This is like the first time ever that the groundhog Puxatawny Phil is a dad. I've always loved Groundhog Day. I think it's the original unusual and customary holiday. It's so insane. It makes no sense. Everybody gets dressed up in tuxedos and top hats and brings this fat groundhog out to say hello. It's just so weird and it's a national news event. I think it's so insane. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. All right. I think we've alerted everybody now that I'm live at noon here in Baltimore. Hello, hello. Welcome, Merriment Makers, to Merriment Mondays Live. I am Mary England and your host, and today we're going to talk about a joyful Valentine's season. And we're going to do that talking about love, self-love, and I know a lot of people find this part of the year challenging. It can really suck. Honestly, like it can really suck. There's a lot of pressure. And when I was younger, when I was a teenager, and even into my early 20s, I rejected Valentine's Day. I was like, I'm not doing this. This sucks. I hate that uh, people feel so bad that on this one particular day of the year, if you're not in a couple or a relationship, that you are like an outcast, you're a reject. And I always had a Valentine too. I like at that point I was in a relationship, but I rejected it and my boyfriend was so mad about it. He wanted to celebrate Valentine's Day so badly, but I was like, I don't want to do this. It makes me feel like it's not aligned with like what I want to do, it wasn't good with my values. And I ended up just being like, no, no Valentine's Day. And I was like, I feel like you should like it. People always get mad about, having what to get their girlfriends on Valentine's Day. But I ended up just not doing it for a really long time. And then after a while, I softened and I realized, what I'm mad about is that it's really, hello, hi, bunny, that we're really just over aggressive about, what we're doing in terms of romantic love. And I was like, you know what? If I do what I do in terms of merriment making, and I've been doing this since I was a kid, I would make these like bags, these goodie bags to hand out to all my friends in the hallway. And I would even organize it when I got into high school. I would make sure that I organized it by the time that I would see them passing in the hallway. And I would do it for every holiday. I would do it for anything that I could get my hands on, like I, Halloween or Thanksgiving or Christmas or Valentine's Day. Yeah, and but I like would stop doing Valentine's Day and I was doing like some sort of like protest about it, and that was so silly. But my point is that I realized that why can't I celebrate my friends for this? There's no reason to protest this. So I started celebrating, hey everybody, I started protesting or not protesting Valentine's Day and I started including my friends in it. And I was like, it can be all sorts of love. It can be like loving the things that I like. It can be loving physical things. It can be loving my friends. It can be loving my mailman. It can be loving driving around. It can be loving Baltimore. It can be loving literally anything. We say love a lot, right? We say love about so much. And then, I mean, fast forward many years later, and I ended up really understanding that there was even a term called self-love. And I was like, oh, absolutely. Absolutely, right? We're definitely putting self-love into the mix for Valentine's Day. Absolutely. So if you are feeling alone during Valentine's season and this pressure, you're definitely not alone in that feeling. Have first of all, in terms of relationships, just statistically, for the logic side of your brain, half of United States adults are unmarried. Just putting that out there. And millions of people aren't in relationships. If you've never been in a relationship, you're not alone. Your relationship status, it seems like a slogan, but it does not define your worth. Even if you are happily partnered, developing your relationship with yourself is still something that we have to prioritize. So, how do you feel about Valentine's Day? If you're here live, or even if you're watching the replay, put it in the chat, put it in the comments. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Is it complicated? What is your relationship status with Valentine's Day? Um, drop it in the chat. So, in terms of love and self-love, Valentine's Day, like I said, does not need to be about romantic love. It's a chance to celebrate everything: love for your friends, family, community, and yourself. And I specialize in that. So we're going to talk about that, about how your worth is not, tied to your relationship, and loving yourself is the foundation for every other type of love that you're going to have in your life. And this journey is ongoing. It's the only one that you're definitely going to have for your whole life, right? And if this season of Valentine's season feels tough, I want you to know that that's okay. You are going to have different Valentine's days too, different Valentine's seasons. And whether you're healing, whether you're single, whether you're broken up or grieving, everything is hard for different reasons, you know? So I just want you to let this be a time about kindness and self-compassion, and to not be triggered by the hearts, like let those hearts represent love for all, love for you, compassion, peace. Instead of being like, oh, I don't want to do that because I'm not in this, or I'm not happy as happy as I could in this relationship, or this reminds me of this. Like, what if you just like assigned it a new attribute? What if it was, I love myself. This heart stands for me and my relationship with myself. This heart stands for how I love the world, how I love my community, how I love this? So, oh, what are you saying? Liz says, clearly married, but was single for decades before that. Yeah. So, I mean, like, okay, so how has your relationship with Valentine's season changed? Has it changed at all? Did you have any sort of negative feelings regarding Valentine's Day when you were single, or now? Okay. So, let's talk about practicing self-love, and like how I'll tell you how I practice self-love in a more daily way. So for me, self-love is really showing up at that I might not be the best person to create an easy awareness pause for myself. And I've learned that about myself. So that means that I need to kind of create little interventions for myself throughout the day. And all that looks like is putting an alarm on my phone, or on the computer, or somewhere else, something external that creates an opportunity for me to check in, and then actually learning to listen to that, because we have probably done things where we hit snooze on stuff too. Like maybe we've tried to implement a system where we have a pause even, or maybe you haven't. Maybe you haven't even tried a pause yet. Maybe you haven't tried an alarm system yet, and that's a great implementation to create. So what I'm talking about first, let's do that first, where every hour, every 3 hours, whatever it is that you want to do, you just have an alarm go off, something that's not really aggressive. And you're like, oh, okay, that means it's been this amount of time, and it's time for me to stand up. And now we are going to move our body a little bit. We're going to make sure we go to the bathroom. We're going to make sure that we check to drink our water. This is just like a physical body check-in. And you can do some deep breathing. You can stretch, step away from whatever it is that you're doing. And like, so much of your self-care really starts in the body. So much of your happiness really starts in your body. It's physiological. It really, really is. And we also because we can be very neurodivergent, very hyper focused, if the quality of the Zoom is waning, I'm noticing that. You can also come join me on Instagram. I'm noticing that it's looking a little weird. Yeah, I'm gonna type this in. You can also join me on Instagram. Okay, so what was I saying? You can, oh, so just how everything starts in the body. Yeah, so basically, like, I have noticed anything in terms of joy or happiness, we really just find that we think that we're really in charge with our own consciousness, with our own subjectivity, with our own kind of like everything. But our body informs our brain, and also our feelings inform our logic. So it's like we are our brains are really just these little dum-dums, and they respond to so many different things. And it's like if we do XYZ, our brain goes, oh, okay. And then our body responds to those things. So it's like, oh, if you do, it's kind of like, you know how people do things with like reflexology, or like they pull on a part of your ear or something, and then you're like, oh, I actually do feel relaxed. Why is that working? It's like because your brain and your body are a dum-dum. That's why. It's doing that because your brain and your body are a dum-dum. Your mind isn't a dum-dum. Your mind is actually extremely complex, extremely fascinating, extremely deep. It contains multitudes. So do you. Your subconscious and your consciousness and your subjectivity are all very, very fascinating and deep. But your brain is just like a bro. It's like, oh, okay, I do that now. So we have to make sure that our systems for our body and our brain are just working, and we're giving them the A/B buttons that are just like do 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 do, and it responds. Okay, so this was all about mindful check-ins. Mindful check-ins means that you need to give yourself these little prompts that you're checking in with yourself throughout the day. And sometimes that means asking yourself, your subconsciousness and your consciousness, like, what is it that I need right now? And maybe you're going to get a different response. It's not going to be something automated. It's going to be something a little bit deeper. Like, oh, I actually really need to get outside. I need to go talk to somebody. I need to get some social connection. I need to do something a little bit more than I was expecting, right? And then it's also going to just be for these repetitive actions. And we're really bad most of the time with having these creating, like having these habitual happiness habits that create a sustainable way for us to feel good. So, are you holding in your pee? Are you holding in your breath while you're working? How often are you actually taking in deep belly breaths throughout the day? How often are you looking away from your screen while you're working? How often are you actually stretching your body? They seem really simple, and they are. That's the thing. They are most of the things that actually keep us feeling good, feeling happy. They're not hard. They're simple, not easy necessarily to implement them, but they're super simple. And we really blow past them because we're like, I'm an educated person. I don't think that I think the level of my pain and my grief and my suffering is a little bit beyond, you know, drinking another glass of water a day or taking a few more deep breaths. I don't think that that's going to fix me. I think that's a little bit insane, insulting, and patronizing, frankly. And I hear that. I hear that, like, how much pain and grief you're in is nuanced, and that I have not experienced what you're experiencing. I get that. And I also understand that you're a human with physiological basic needs, and you need to do these things too. And it's like when we get into the modalities for self-care and self-love and happiness habits, it's like we have to keep doing these things every single day and then see how you feel after a while. It's incredible the difference that it makes. It really is. It's like anything. Okay, so do the mindful check-ins. If you are not able to have the awareness, or even just in the beginning, I say set an alarm. Set an alarm, absolutely, and do it in general. I started doing something where I did the 20-20-20 principle, which is like, because I'm on screens a lot during the day, and it started fatiguing my eyes. So I looked into eye care. And one of the examples is that you, every 20 minutes, you look away for 20 feet for 20 seconds to reset your gaze. And after a while, I just started doing it a little bit more habitually. And that's one of the great things about happiness habits and mindful check-ins is that if you do them often enough, it becomes something that you don't need an alarm for, but it's great to have those reminders on autopilot. You like to create something that I do with the merriment making method is that I like to create autopilot systems so that you yourself aren't living on autopilot. A lot of us are living on autopilot with self-love and the parts of our lives that we really want to engage and be a part of. We want to have these enchanting romantic lives and to be connected with people and feel this poetry and motion that like we are living poetry, right? But like we are running on autopilot. We are running on autopilot. But what I think what we can do is create systems that are the ones that are running on autopilot so that we can live as living poetry. That's the mix up. I would think that we can use things like our subconscious and alarms to run on autopilot so that we can live an experienced, considered life. Okay, another thing that you can do this month, or and just always, right? Because self-love day is that Valentine's, the day before Valentine's Day. So it's like that's the 13th of February. And but really in the merriment making world, it's every day, yes. But another thing that you can do is healthy boundaries. So that's something that I know a lot of my people, you beautiful caregivers, you change makers, you kindness spreaders are not very good at all the time. That's something that's not naturally good, right? So we have to actively implement systems on autopilot, right? To create. And you can start with saying no, right? I know we hear it a lot. Again, simple, not easy, but it needs to be done. And again, our ego comes in and they say things like, I don't think that, the idea of saying no to things is going to be as effective as it can be with how much stress that I have. You don't know how much stress I have. You don't know what my to-do list today looks like. It's very long. It's very long. I understand it's extremely long. I get how much you have to do. Maybe I don't. Maybe you think that I don't, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how many things. I don't have to pick up kids today. I have no idea. I don't know what pickup is like. Okay, so but still, saying no is a skill that you need to build. And even so, even when you're somebody that you might think like me, that is someone who has already built the skill, it can always be improved. It can always be tweaked. It can always be more powerful and nuanced. So it's an act of self-respect. And when you're overwhelmed, you need to be able to say, I'm not going to say yes to this particular thing. I think that saying no, we often think is a way to be like, you know what? I'm saying no to this person because screw you. I don't want to do this. It's more like just rearranging your priorities. Just rearranging your priorities. Did you know that priority was the word priority wasn't originally able to be pluralized? It came from a Latin word and it originally for like hundreds of years was not able to they just didn't pluralize the word because the intent of the word the intent of the word priority was that you had one focus, one main focus, one priority. So the definition of the word was like, how could you have multiple priorities? That doesn't make any sense. It wasn't until the Industrial Revolution that with hustle culture and multiple productivity aspects running at once that we pluralized the word and created multiple priorities. So I'm just saying, like, if you had to have one priority, what would it be? And a lot of us wait for a crisis to figure out, like, what is our priority? What is it? When things hit the wall, like when I thought I had cancer, when I thought that I had a brain tumor, like when those times happen, you really get this like hyper focus, singularity understanding of, okay, I'm starting to see things through this like different view. And I get that like this other stuff on this to-do list doesn't matter. This is because I believe in this longer term thing, you know? And hope is something that really motivates us. It really does. Hope is what allows us to move forward. It's what has fueled every innovation in everything in our entire lives. It's an incredible feeling and motivator for the human race. And sometimes, as Mark Manson says, hope is fucked. Like, what we are thinking about is we're always looking for the next carrot, and we're always looking at, like, okay, how can we use this to like move forward? And we're not living here in the moment. We're not living as poetry. We're not staying here in the moment. We're not exacting presence. So if you can kind of hold two seemingly conflicting ideas at once and believe that, you can have hope and also believe in the fact that your mortality is impermanent. And I don't know, this always gets off the rails because I try to keep it simple and then I like go into like deeper stuff. But I just want you to understand that giving yourself permission to decline extra commitments is like, okay, in the grand scheme of things, this doesn't matter, essentially, right? It doesn't matter because yes, we want to believe in tomorrow and we want to believe that this step-by-step thing is working towards something. And also, when I zoom out, I don't need to respond to that email because I am going to die, right? Like it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. Okay? I just want you to have perspective. Perspective. Okay. And let's celebrate small wins. Okay, these are three just like simple things for self-love. I want you to understand that this year we're keeping it super simple with merriment making, super simple with self-love care and practices with how you can implement this into your life. 5 minutes or less, 5 minutes. You don't need more than 5 minutes to create a change, a lasting change. We're doing stuff that's scientifically backed. We're doing stuff that I understand that you're busy, but I want you to be able to have stuff like this on in the background as you're working, as you're driving, as you're moving. And I also want you to have like functional, effective, science-backed stuff that I promise you, even if you don't believe it or understand it, it is working in your favor. It is working for you, and you don't need an hour to implement it. So celebrating small wins, mindful check-ins, and healthy boundaries are things that you can do right now to enhance your self-love, enhance your happiness, enhance your overall life satisfaction. Celebrating small wins, I think some people think that it looks like needing to go out to like a restaurant or I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's maybe a little convoluted, but it's really whatever it looks like to you. I think it looks like gratitude. I think it looks like acknowledgement. I think it looks like, okay, I did that. I broke a pattern. I I had this goal of I wanted to, but let's look at the no thing, right? Or the mindful check-in. Okay, so both of those are things that you wanted to maybe change or tweak a little bit. Not something huge, but something that you wanted to do. And you finally did it. And then at the end of the day, or even right after that thing happened, you take stock of it. You have a little bit of awareness. And you're like, you know what? I did that. And maybe you write it down. Maybe you have like some sort of chart that you're checking, like a sticker chart or something. Or maybe you just like list out at the end of the week, I did this many times. I did this. It doesn't have to be for somebody else. Or maybe it can be. Maybe it's a social media post. You're like, I'm just want to say I'm really proud of myself. Maybe it's a conversation with someone, like a friend or your partner. And you're like, guess what? This whole week, I checked with myself like every hour on the hour and I stretched and my body actually feels differently. And that's pretty cool. And I don't know. I think that sometimes when we say like celebrate the small wins, we're like, well, I don't have money to go buy myself dessert every time. And that's actually also going to be like a counteract to another goal that I have. No, it doesn't have to be like that. I think it's just verbal and written acknowledgement. Okay. But you can plan stuff that's special for yourself, right? So especially because we have something coming up that's like Valentine's Day and Self-Love Day, the 13th and the 14th, you can carve out something special, even though, or you can do something that's, it doesn't have to be on that exact day. The 13th is a Thursday, the 14th is a Friday, so you could do something that weekend, depending on your schedule. You can do like a solo date day. Solo dates are so underrated. They're so not talked about enough. And I I cannot recommend them enough. You need time to yourself. You need introverted, extroverted, it doesn't matter. You need individual time to learn who you are, to learn about yourself. So, what would a self-love day look like for you? You can plan activities that you truly enjoy. You could do, like, I mean, I can't even give you examples because what you enjoy is different. But maybe it's like a going to a session in the morning, like a meditation or a yoga, or maybe you're walking around outside. I feel like everybody should walk around outside a little bit. We need fresh air, we need the sunlight, we need all of that. You could also go to a museum, you could go to a cafe, you could walk, you could journal, you could read. We need to create confidence doing things that like put us a little bit out of our comfort zone, right? Just a little bit. And also just spending time with yourself. It also doesn't have to be the whole day. The whole day. It doesn't have to be. But what's really great about it is that you get to have this experience where you don't need to cater to everybody else. If you are somebody that is a people pleaser, if you are somebody that is like, oh, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have a really hard time saying no to somebody, or I'm always like giving over my time to somebody else, and you have a difficult time declining extra commitments, then you could put this on the calendar and it looks like you are busy that whole day. And you probably won't even need as many mindful check-ins because you're going to be doing something that feels good to you the whole day. The hardest thing for most people is that you're alone and we're not comfortable being alone in public settings. So you can just kind of gauge your own comfort with what is it that you feel like you're doing that feels comfortable to you. Is going to a movie or eating outside like not that comfortable? And while I'm on this spot, I wanted to let you know that there is a free workshop that you can take for how to be your own Valentine. It's we cover unconditional self-love in this. There's also a free tapping. We talk about solo dates. That's why I'm mentioning it. There's a whole work thing, journaling prompts on how to go through and plan solo dates. We talk about that. There's these bonus worksheets and these PDFs of 50 ideas how to reignite romance, 50 ideas to celebrate being single, 50 ways to mend a broken heart. There's a DIY tutorial about loving yourself. There's a heart chakra activation. It's a really great free workshop. And you can get that. The link is in my bio and it should be in the description wherever you're watching, but it's uncustomary.org/Valentine workshop. And I'll type it in where I'm streaming. Uncustomary.org/Valentine workshop. It's really great. It's interactive and you can get it immediately. Okay, let me go back where we were. So, I mean, that can be something that you do on Valentine's Day. You could take that workshop. You could, I think that it's ultimately like an amazing self-care ritual because it embodies like creativity and celebration and self-care and all of these different aspects that incorporate both physiology and your intellect. So, like I said, everything really starts in the body, but it's pretty great. Okay. So you can get that at uncustomary.org/Valentine workshop. But self-care rituals are really great. I think that if you want to develop a little ritual that helps you feel loved or pampered, I mean, this can be one of the more um like hokey or traditional or whatever, like there's nothing wrong with being pampered. There's nothing wrong with, the simple classic-y kind of self-care of reading and taking a bath and cozy spa stuff. There's nothing wrong with any of that. I think sometimes we reject the status quo so far that we're like, oh, we can't do that either. So you can still do that. You can also just do like an adventure. I love exploring, taking a day trip and going to a different part of a town or a completely new town or a quirky roadside attraction, I think is really fun. But really, it's just like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do that everybody else doesn't want to do? Or just that you want to make more time for? So, okay. I really need to blow my nose. I'm so sorry. Self-worth. Being able to blow your nose on a live call. I don't know. Not being embarrassed. It's only embarrassed if you're embarrassed. It's only embarrassing if you're embarrassed. I think that made it worse. Okay. And gratitude for yourself. Two people left. That's fine. Okay. So do some journaling, do some avoid like some appreciation for yourself. It doesn't have to be journaling, it can be out loud. It's really just about the acknowledgement of it. You can write down what you love about yourself, what you have done, personal strengths, achievements, moments that you feel especially proud. When you do this over time, it can be one thing a day, up to three things a day, even more. You can just go on a bender and write like 100 things if you can. That would be amazing. This journal can become a really powerful reminder of your growth and resilience. You can also create things that people call affirmations. You can also really try to create maybe something more like an incantation. So I am statements are really powerful, but you want to also really feel them in your body. So doing things that put you into like a peak state, doing things that really allow your body to become awakened while you're doing this. So that's one of the reasons that I really like tapping is because you're engaging your body. You don't have to do all the tapping and you don't have to do all the rounds. You can just start tapping here while you say it. You can think about different archetypes of yourself, like your warrior. Like, where is your warrior? Where is your, like, and that would be maybe the person, the part of you who does all the work, right? The one that's fighting your battles for you, the one that's hyper vigilant, the one that goes to town, the one that fights. Like, what is the warrior to you? You can also think about your maverick, your magician, your cunning, like funny, silly, playful merriment maker. What is that one doing? And you can think about your lover archetype. You can think about that one, maybe especially for this Valentine's Day, the one that maybe is looking for peace and compassion hmm, and how they respond to different things, and then also your queen or your king or your sovereign, and how they are responding to things. And you could look at different situations through different lenses, different archetypes. Maybe there's one that I haven't mentioned that you find to be especially powerful for you. And think about maybe where they live in your body. When I mention the maverick magician, the playful merriment maker, or the warrior, or the queen, or the lover, where are they coming up for you in your body? And then you can tap into that part. Maybe they have a certain number or color to them. Maybe do some journaling from that aspect. And when we talk about affirmations and incantations, really allow that part to speak for you from that point and allow that part to become alive and think about how that person would solve a problem, that part of you, and wake that part up. So, like, if you feel like your lover is coming from this part of you, tap it awake, tap it awake. And if you feel like you're like my merriment maker is coming, like all of my parts come from like a different part of my body. Yeah. Like my merriment maker comes from my mouth. And like you can just kind of make them come alive for you, make them come alive. I think it's more powerful to do something that's physiological with the intellectual, merge them, just like how the theory needs the tangibility, merge them. Okay. And you can also share your gratitude or anything on social. If it's another way to create accountability, it's another way to create community. You can use the hashtag merriment making and I'll find you, or you can tag me. Okay, let's also talk about spreading this to other people. So we went over some self-care. So let's cover that. Let's go over that again. So having check-ins throughout your day to pause yourself and ask yourself what you need. And if you don't know what those are, like you can create some safeguards with some alarm systems, right? And you can also do that with other gateways with maybe some signs or some sorry, my brain just got boggled. Some sticky notes or signage. Healthy boundaries, saying no to things, declining extra commitments, protecting your energy, and also celebrating small wins, taking stock at the end of the day or at the end of the week or after you do something that you wanted to change and you have changed, to acknowledge what you have been able to do. And then planning something special for yourself, maybe having a personal celebration day, a solo day, a self-care ritual, or a mini adventure. And then having gratitude for yourself, doing some self-appreciation journaling, and maybe an affirmation or an incantation practice, and then even sharing that gratitude online. Okay. And remembering that, yes, these all are simple, but simple is effective. Simple is does also not mean that it's not scientific and that it's not going to be effective. And we have to kind of humble our egos to know that if we're not doing these things every day, we're not going to get to the 201, 301, 401 level. Our physiology needs these simple practices. Okay, so now let's talk about sharing the love, going from feeling good to doing good. So spreading love to others because it's like kindness is truly contagious. And I love sharing that when I perform acts of kindness, my brain releases oxytocin. And that's the love hormone. And we're here about on Valentine's Day season, right? So the love hormone, oxytocin, lowers your stress, it boosts your happiness, and it's also just fun to know that a small act can have a positive impact. And I make a point to smile at people when I'm out and also just dress fun. That always boosts people's moods. I love seeing how people react to my outfits and to compliment people when I see them, to interact with them, to hold the door open, sending texts to people, sending gifts, leaving positive reviews online. I ask people, like, what's the best way to send you a review? I'll take pictures of people's businesses. And I'm not doing all of these all the time, but anything that you do creates a positive ripple of positivity. And every act of kindness can also inspire a ripple for someone else to pay it forward. It's like a lightning spark that can brighten an entire community. I also love to set up kindness missions for myself. So sometimes I take a moment to write something, go a little deeper, right? Like to write a letter or an email to somebody who has changed my life, or just not even like that. Like, but maybe just, instead of leaving like a review for someone on Yelp or something, I will leave like a much more detailed one, I'll send them a letter or like an email and say, hey, this was such a really good experience, I really just want you to know how much this was. Or I'll send a card to my friend. I also do this thing where I have this service called Touch Note, and I send pictures to my friends after we've hung out. And like a week later, they get this postcard from me that lets them have this like really fun memento of what we did when we hung out. I I think an easy thing to do is leaving sticky notes with kind words in public spaces like community boards and library books, on your coworker's desk to bring someone a smile. I mean, even if it's just to Matt in the morning, I think it's just such a simple way to do that. There's so many, so many, so many ways to do digital kindness in the way that we connect today. Spreading love online is so easy. Quotes, images, uplifting stories, creating a digital calendar for yourself, even where you commit to something to do every day. I think especially right now when something feels politically charged, to be very conscious of what it is that you're sharing online. Because if you feel inundated with things that feel negative or uninspiring, and it feels like an uninspiring place to come, then you can't, if you contribute to that, then you are part of the problem, right? So to be very conscious of what it is that you are sharing, to be the good news that you wish to see, right? Not just to be the change that you wish to see, but to be the good news that you wish to see. There's a whole episode on my podcast and Merriment Mondays about about good news. So, if you want to share good news, then share it. There's no reason that you are like only allowed to share something negative in a time that feels politically charged. There's no rules. You're not being a bad person or frivolous of sharing something positive when something real is going on. That's not true. We all need to feel and see everything. And if everything is negative, then we all of our mental health goes down. I'm sorry, I'm getting sick. I can feel it. So if everyone's mental health is going down and you participate in the doom scrolling by contributing to all the negativity instead of providing a perspective or sharing good news, then all we have is just another post about that, right? So I think a way to participate in kindness, not just now, but always, is to share good news, share positive stuff, share your happy story, share something good that happened to you, and have the understanding and the confidence and the self-worth to believe that it's not frivolous. It's needed. We actually need the comic relief part of in this part of the movie very, very much. So, um, yeah, I think it's very much needed. And if you need a comic relief, then I have a service called Good News Texts, and you can get that on my website. And I think it's just uncustomary.org/texts. And I'll send you a good news story every weekday with a positive, fun graphic as well. So you get two things every day. It's free for the first month. Okay. There's also this month, there's Random Acts of Kindness Week. So there are going to be a lot more local events. Um, even online, there's going to be a lot more options for participating in things. And you can also volunteer your time. You can really, if you want to be the good news and the change you wish to see, now is the time. Not just now because it's February or because Random Acts of Kindness Week is coming up or because people really need it, but because we always do. We always do. Literally. Right? Not just right now, but now. Always. I'm I've been in meetings like a lot in the past couple weeks where people are bringing up the concept of like, well, we need it now more than ever. No, no, we've needed it. We've always needed it, actually. I'm getting really tired of hearing that we need it now more than ever. No, I've been doing this as my job for over 10 years because this has been a service that has been required for humanity, for mental health, for self-love, for perseverance, for always. That's why I've been doing this for always, and forevermore. We need this. We need joy. We need kindness. We need connection. We need creativity. We need to not just spread good news, but we need to document it when it happens. I'm talking to you. When things are good that happen, we need to document it. Do you know why there's so much less good news shared? One is because of fear mongering and the way that the news has been angled. That is an extremely big point that needs to be made. But two, it's because when the good things that happen, even when the good news like websites that are only sharing good news, they are grasping for straws, trying to find things to share because so many people don't think that what has happened in their own lives is worth sharing. They don't take even a picture or share the story. People aren't doing that. So I need you to share the good that's happened in your lives. Maybe it won't turn viral, but it will help someone. Okay. And I'm also going to start doing this thing in less than a month where, um, okay, so a couple years ago inside the Merriment Makers, you can still get all the archives in there, but it was called Operation Merriment. And every week we would make a kindness mission. And I would do this whole um it was like this presentation on a different topic, and it was based on unusual holidays. So like if it was Jelly Bean Week or Jelly Bean Day, I would do this whole presentation about like where jelly beans came from and all the weird facts about it, and we would explore like the history and the origin of jelly beans. And I would do this crazy presentation on it, and then I would give you a workbook with all these facts, and it was really intense. And I would make a mood board and it was a lot. And but then at the end, the point was that I would create like a printable and something that you could easily make that we would be able to go out and do on our own, and kind of like do like a kindness drop or give it to a friend, or like use that idea as the concept to inspire a random act of kindness that took like 5 minutes or less to make. So I haven't even made the landing page for it. It's all here. But this week I'm going to announce basically that I'm going to be doing that in person in Baltimore. And it's going to be awesome. I'm going to be able to take people on kindness missions. So we're going to do the DIY in person, and then we're going to go out and deliver them to people as a group. So, and that's just one of another thing that I'm offering. It's there's a lot of things coming. So I don't know why I've shared that. I probably shouldn't have yet, but it's coming. So Operation Merriment is coming in real life, and yeah, I'm excited. But okay, so also, but if you want access to those Operation Merriment missions, they're all in the Merriment Makers. There's like 90 of them. And there's also whole modules on kindness and how to spread joy and altruism, and um yeah, there's so many things in the Merriment Makers on kindness. I would check that out. Merriment Makers is the tits. Okay, so we talked about the science of happiness, or our trust has been eroded as a society. I've been doing this for over 10 years, and in the beginning it was like always people were, you know, hesitant. They were confused. They didn't know why. They thought I was weird. Um, and that's been a consistency. I have expected that always. But what's different now is like people just keep their head down. They don't even notice that I'm wearing a costume because people don't want to interact with other people. The trust is so eroded. We just assume somebody wants money from us. We assume somebody's begging. We assume someone wants there's like a con going on. And I have no ulterior motive. I'm recording. I'm recording to show it to other people who miss it later. But yeah, there's no ulterior motive. It's like people genuinely couldn't believe that I was handing out lollipops for free. I thought that was interesting. Like people were over the moon, grateful for a free lollipop. It was less than $1, and I thought that was kind of sad. Um, so yeah, like they thought I was gonna make them sign a petition or something. So I'm just saying we need kindness acts more than ever. The level of hope and faith in humanity has been deeply lost. And if you want to participate in the renaissance of that, then we need you on the ground, out in the field, and not just posting inspirational quotes, but we need you to participate in that as a merriment maker. And we do need you to feel good before you do good. We need you to participate in your own care first. But sometimes it can also help to go help other people feel good. And that makes you feel good as well. Okay. And we can also talk about some celebrations of love, like having a themed gathering. Like last year, I hosted a Galentine's event and I had some food and we played Girl Talk. And we had like a little mini makeshift photo booth and it was really fun. And it doesn't have to be Valentine's Day. It can be, a spin on it. Or it doesn't have to be Valentine's related at all. Like I said, there's so many unusual holidays. You can pick one at whim and just go to town or just have people over. um, you just share stories and celebrate the fact that you're friends. And like I said, there's also Self-Love Day coming up, February 13th. You could celebrate doing something that you love, having a quiet retreat, a staycation at home, something that feeds your soul. And there's so many other quirky holidays coming up, like Library Lovers Day. And on the 15th, candy is going to be on sale, 50% off. Go get some of that. There's so many other things that you can celebrate, and life is full of little celebrations just waiting for you to notice them. Please notice them. And whether it's in person or online, I am organizing meetups where we can share our favorite self-love activities, exchange ideas, and uplift everybody else. So join the Positive Pulse. That's my free community. And you can find that at uncustomary.org, or the link in my bio. And, just really, really stay tuned. Stay on my newsletter. Like I said, Operation Merriment's coming. There's another in-person and online monthly thing that's coming, and I've got stuff coming. Um, there's going to be more stuff, but we're also going to do a guided meditation to close us out. And before we wrap up, I'd really like to guide you through this brief meditation focused on self-love and kindness. And this is your moment to pause and breathe and connect with yourself. You don't need to do anything fancy. Just find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and follow along with me. Take a deep breath in through your nose and let it out slowly through your mouth. Feel your body relax with each exhale as you keep breathing. And let the weight of your stress melt as you focus in on this moment. Notice your feet on the floor or the surface that's supporting you. And remember that you're grounded and safe and exactly where you need to be. As you continue to breathe deeply, think about your lover archetype. Notice where they are living in your body. You can bring your hands where you feel them. You can hold your hand there, or you can tap gently. And I invite you to repeat these affirmations and/or incantations in your head or out loud. I'm going to say them first, and then you can echo them back to yourself. I am worthy of love. I am proud of who I am. I give myself permission to rest and recharge. I deserve joy and care. Now imagine there's a warm light surrounding your body. Maybe it's pink for love, Or maybe it's just your favorite color. And it's like someone's drawn a crayon all around the outside of your body, like a chalk drawing, but it's all warm surrounding the outside of your body. And this light is representing kindness and love. And the kindness and love is not just for yourself, but it's also for the world around you, for everyone. And keep breathing. And as you see it around you, as you breathe, you notice it's growing brighter with each breath, and it's filling you with peace, and it's filling you with confidence, and it's filling you with joy. And this light is growing, and it's expanding outward. And you're sharing this kindness with others, with your smile, with a kind word, with an act of care, with people you don't understand, with people who don't understand you, to create a bridge, to create empathy, to create community. To create love, to create peace. And notice how good it feels to spread love while still remaining full yourself of this light. You don't lose any. It just keeps expanding outward. This light is infinite. Notice any sensations in your body. Feel where the lover is inside of you. And take a moment to thank you for being here today, for showing up for yourself. You are worthy of this care and so much more. Of a beautiful Valentine season, of wonderful self-love. And you have so much ability to spread love, to spread joy, to cultivate peace. More than you know. You have more energy in you than you give yourself credit for. Even in a winter. Even in a personal winter. And even when winter feels long, the spring will come. Even if the daddy groundhog says it's going to be 6 more weeks. And when you're ready, slowly bring your awareness back to the room. Wiggle your fingers and toes and open your eyes if they're closed. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. And I hope that you can carry this feeling of light into the rest of your day and maybe even into the week ahead. If you're ready for even more ideas and support, join the free How to Be Your Own Valentine seminar. It comes with a heart chakra meditation or heart chakra activation, an EFT tapping on loving yourself unconditionally, journaling prompts, tips for solo dates, and additional bonuses like 50 solo date ideas, 50 ways to reignite romance, 50 ways to celebrate being single, 50 ways to mend a broken heart, a DIY tutorial for loving yourself, and it's free to join. You can get immediate access at uncustomary.org/Valentine workshop. The link should be in your description below if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. and in the link in my bio on Instagram. And before you go, you can share a self-love activity you're excited to try using. And if you want to tag me on social, you can use at Merriment Maker or hashtag Merriment Making so we can keep inspiring each other. Also, if you want an additional way to keep your self-care strong, even after the free Valentine workshop, then you can consider the Merriment Reset. It's a 30-day program with no pressure, just relief. It's not about overhauling your life. It's just about finding small moments of joy and calm where you already are without adding additional stress. So in just 5 minutes a day, you'll experience quick science-backed practices that help you feel lighter, calmer, and more in control even on your busiest days. So you can feel better now. Even one day of the Merriment Reset can help you breathe easier, smile more, and feel less overwhelmed. Um, we're activating your parasympathetic nervous system to shift you from stress mode into relaxation mode. We're triggering your vagus nerve to calm your body and mind for immediate relief. We're boosting your feel-good neurotransmitters like dopamine to increase your motivation and your happiness, your serotonin to enhance your mood and calmness, your oxytocin to foster love and connection, and your endorphins to provide natural energy and confidence, plus also your testosterone for confidence and energy as well. And the whole point is that when your nervous system feels safe, you move from survival to living out your potential even more. And really, you end up gaining time. So if you are somebody who is constantly giving to others and have nothing left for yourself at the end of the day or the week or the month, or you're overwhelmed and stressed and can't imagine adding one more thing to your life, or even you're financially stretched and still craving a moment of peace, then this program is made for you. The Merriment Reset meets you exactly where you are, no extra time, no extra energy needed, because you deserve to feel good even when life is hard. It's only $1 a lesson. It's super simple and effective. So check it out at uncustomary.org/merriment-reset. Link is in my bio and in the description below or on my website. And thank you for spending this time with me, for showing up here. And this is a beautiful act of self-love. And I hope you leave feeling inspired and cared for. And happy Valentine's Day season. You have to feel good to do good. Let's make this February celebration of kindness, joy, and love, starting with yourselves. I'll see you next time, Merriment Makers. Bye.